Makers Movement. Hello, friends. I know the audio is not super great on this critter I'm using. Well, we got a few minutes. Darrin Mossman, as usual, killing it with a good question on the movement. Question about pricing on veneer. Question about sourcing veneers. I'm going to share a perspective on this that's only part. It's not an answer to Darrin's question. That's a good comment to have a thread on. You guys are going to have insights into that I just don't have. But I feel like what I'd like to say about veneer, without getting too long-winded, is I started with York North Veneer Products, YNVP, up in Canada, because I believed strongly that cold-grown Canadian maple, cold-grown Canadian maple has a denser fiber than warm-grown maple. That was the thing. And so for a number of years, I think 2 years, I was ordering from York North, talking to Jennifer Leduc over there. And Jennifer is lovely, and was for the most part quite helpful. But 2 years in or so, I don't know, a year and a half, 2 years, something like that, Jennifer dropped it to me. She says, no, they're way up in the northeast of Canada. They're way up in boonies, dirt road and like that. And she says, no, we buy our wood from the Great Lakes region just like everyone else does. Because it was really cold in 2013, and I was like, how are you guys harvesting and milling? Because that's the rhetoric. The idea was you buy from us, we harvest it up here. When I started with them, I was buying 2 pallets at a time, which is not a large order. They were putting out train loads of wood to the factories. And in order to ship my stuff, they had to put it on a potato truck, less than load, LTL. And that worked. It worked. But I was very happy that they were willing to do as little as 2 pallets of wood. And that was when I started. There wasn't service to small makers outside of Rower Rocket. And Rower Rocket was never a price that I was willing to go. I would rather cobble together 5 or 7 grand and buy 2 pallets than deal with Rower Rocket. Well, so then like 2 years in, she's like, no, it's all like Midwest, upper Midwest wood. The Canadian wood gets brought down. The Midwest wood gets brought up. They all get lotted together and purchased. They're not even marked Canada and America. They're just purchased in lots, giant transactions, and they're trucked up to the mill, milled, and then they're trucked back down. And I'm sitting here, right? And I'm like thinking, like, Jennifer, how does this not mean that we're done? Why would I buy York North wood as Canadian cold grown? I quit advertising cold grown Canadian right after that because I realized it's not. It's cold milled. It's milled up in the cold, but it was grown down in the. So I saw that there was not a difference in quality that was assurable to a maker, unless you're in Canada and you're getting from a harvesting place that mills right where they harvest it. But that's not how the industry works large scale. Not how the end of the industry I connected with worked. So I had to look at what I was doing and go, okay, the great results I'm getting from hand rolling, long pressing, it's not the wood. So that's when I began my experiments with what's the worst wood that I can use to make a board. And I've got one sitting right here with full fractures and perforations in every layer of the board. Made it with Tight Bond 1 and put it under, I think 3 riders rode it for 2 weeks each. And then it went into being given to a local kid who stomped on it. Thing really lasted. For me, and again, this is for me, I'm not a definitive or authoritative person. I'm putting out my experience. For me, the big deal is proper glue rolling, that glue application, getting it proper, and long pressing. I do pre-cure, I do post-cure, I do several things that are definitely heavy influence on quality. I just got off the phone with Colin Weir down in Florida, who himself has watched Boards Eye Press last for 2 years of heavy-footed skating, and he's just freaked out about the quality of the laminate, and it's not due to a cold growth origin, which I can't find a guaranteed cold growth origin anyway. So watch this video. I see you, Darren Tyler, on here. Darren Mossman or Darren Tyler that posted this. I think it's Mossman posted this. Please take this with a grain of salt as my contribution to a conversation that and there's more in that conversation. He's talking about pricing. He's talking about transparency. That's a good place to talk on that thread. But I wanted to say, veneer quality is not my biggest quality emphasis. I have been able to more than successfully, I mean, super successfully make great quality laminate, proper press, proper roll, proper press time, proper cure, putting out laminate that lasts and lasts and lasts with truly inferior maple in it. And I'm seeing that the difference is the care that you take. That's my view. The difference is the care that you take as a maker to know your glue application and to know your press time and your press loading. My presses work excellently on 3 boards of pop. They work very well on 2 boards of pop, and they produce rustic results that are still quite good at 1 board. But stacking them 3, how long do I keep my boards in the press? Well, I am no longer, like, I don't have to put boards in the press every day, but Life Skateboards does 24 hours. They load the presses, they unload in the morning, they load in the morning, and then it goes around, they unload, they load. They do 1 pressing a day. They have each of our presses. That's Bryce and Sam. They've got my molds there. They've got our molds there, and each press has 2 molds in it. And I think they're stacking them 2 deep in those molds. Sometimes 1. The molds are outstanding. I know that on mine, they might be doing 3 deep on mine. I'm not there every day. It's 2 hours away from me. I'm going there on Monday again. But I can get 3 into my presses here when I'm pressing, and I will be pressing boards in the next 2 weeks here because I've got people coming for what I call a build through, where they're going to come in and they're going to cut with me and make their board with me. I charge $100, $120 a pop for someone to come through and make a board with me and get the experience. Had a batch of 100 warp due to us being rushed into 4-hour press time. I think the longer you press them, the less warping you'll get. Life Skateboards isn't getting any warping on a 24-hour press time. And all expansion models at Life Skateboards keep the 24-hour press time. So we're talking, when we talk expansion, we're talking about adding presses. We have, like, at our 4th tier expansion, we've got 10 presses running daily in my house. And for 24-hour pressings, we're just keeping that. We're keeping the hand rolling, and because the attention you pay to the grain on rolling, it's an art form, and it's a martial art. And then the press time. I think these are 2 of the greatest factors. And so wherever you can get maple veneer of whatever dimension you wish, whether it's 1/20th or 1/16th, will I do a glue up live? I'd like to see your technique. I will do glue up lives, but I would direct you to my historical page, Happy Little Skateboards, Happy Little Craft Made Skateboards Historical, and I've got glue ups live. I've got screen printing live on that. You can dig through. They're not labeled. They're not proper. My new channel, Captain Lou, is where we'll be doing it. But yes, I will be doing glue up lives. And here's another thing is the more often I glue up, the better I glue up. I get rusty at it, but the more often I do it, the more I get that roller going. It's like a karate to me. And there are a lot of fine points as I teach people here how to roll. Like Sean upstairs, my upstairs guy, he rode for me. He worked with Maximus. He's made skateboards. But when I roll that glue, I've got a whole stance thing, and I've got the angle of your arm thing to avoid fatigue, repetitive stress injury. I've got a whole bunch of stuff that's kind of high level. And so, guys, friends, I would love to go through a hand rolling with you guys. Please don't consider me a tutorial. Consider me a friend who's sharing how I do it, and just enjoy it. You can do it completely differently. You may want to use automated glue application. I'm not mad at you if you use a different way than I do it. That's not how this works. But I wanted to kind of just touch on this thing. I have never succeeded in finding a way to know whether that veneer is North American. Southern Midwest is also producing wood, maple. It goes all the way down into the Southern Midwest. Well, I've never found a way to know that when I buy that wood, that it's cold grown Canadian. And when I found that out, I began to experiment with the most punky, junky wood I could find. Cracks, full, big old perforations. What I found was glue application and press time. These are worth pressing in on and figuring out because they've made a huge difference in my work. I am super jazzed about the fact that you can make epic quality lumber and put that out into the world. And you know that I'm not going to miss a chance to show you fools this again. I know you're probably not tired of seeing it, but Greg Pravasnik, dude, this thing sits next to me and I just can't stop looking at it. I'm never going to skate it. I won't skate it. It's going to be part of my museum showpieces right here. I got this one too, sitting right here. These are my Stoke pieces. This thing, this thing is super, super awesome, super big, super fat. Team Fat by Life Skateboards. It's just blowing my mind. I'm loving it. Oh, I'm loving it so much. Oh, jeez, so good. So I am having an absolute blast over here. So I hope you guys all have a great rest of your day. Please mention Ply Grain Tuning. Trees don't grow straight, they spiral. Jared asked me to talk about Ply Grain Tuning. I'm going to be honest. This is another reason I beg you not to consider me authoritative, okay? I am a low science individual. I'm a low intelligence board presser. I never fuss with the ply grain beyond obvious diagonals, obvious swirls. Anytime I've got multiple pieces with obvious diagonals or obvious swirls, I will take them and make sure that they check one another. That's as close to ply grain tuning as I get. And that's important. You don't want to load in a bunch of diagonal plies in there so that the thing has when it swells and shrinks, it has a torque to it that's not balanced another way. Jared, I hope I did justice to your comment because I really appreciate your comment. And I'm happy that you guys are in here and that we're encouraging each other. All of this said, listen. You got this, and you're important, and your work is important, and I do believe that for many of you who have aspirations, there is a good, humble living in making quality skateboards for your region or nationally, and I wish nothing more than to encourage you and be part of stoking you along, really. And thank you all for joining me and putting up with this rant. I don't think you put up with this rant. I think you love these because I really enjoy making them. I can't see how you wouldn't enjoy hanging out for a minute. So I will catch you guys later. Thank you. And I will be back at you. Thanks, Makers Movement. You guys roll. Makers Movement. That's our new thing.